It's another absurd day in the world of Magic the Gathering, as Wizards of the Coast has heard from investors and collectors and LGSs and players all saying the same thing. Slow down, stop making so many products. And Wizards of the Coast has said, we hear you, but here's the thing. We're going full steam ahead. There will be no slowdown. 2023 is going to be the most nightmarish year for Magic the Gathering.
Magic. History. I'm an old wizard. The magic historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends. I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered for another ridiculous installment of Mega Magic News. Wizards of the Coast keeps making mistakes at light speed, and I sure wasn't expecting them to come out of the gates right away and say, you know what, we're actually going to continue the pace that we're going with our products. It was kind of astounding. So that's not the only thing we're going to discuss. We're going to talk about their new Festival in a Box that I'm calling Clearance in a Box. It is an awful product that will illustrate to you just how bad 2023 is going to be. But before we talk about that, we have to talk about the stream that happened yesterday where Wizards basically straight out said, yo, we're not slowing down. Now, they didn't say they're going to speed up, but I strongly suspect that 2023 is going to be crammed with even more stuff. It's crazy. And speaking of crazy, imagine being the PR manager for Magic the Gathering. Imagine being the dude who has to go out to a live stream full of angry Magic the Gathering players who are all riled up and just going, oh, shaking the cage and going crazy. And you have to come out with like a, hey guys, it's a brothers war, let's have some fun. And I'm going to answer your questions too. So you can hear it in his voice, right? Just the, oh. So he gets asked a question in the live stream. Is Wizards of the Coast planning on slowing down production? And to his credit, he gets to choose what he answers. He could have ignored the question, but he sat there for a bit. You can almost hear the gears turning as he's processing it. And he's like, basically, this kind of a question, to answer it, would take an entire stream on its own. And we have a lot of internal discussions about that. He didn't provide any extra detail, but you could tell they talked about it a lot, and there were these staggering pauses where he was processing how to say it. But ultimately what he said was they're going to continue along the way they're going. It breaks down into things like player segmentation, which is something that Wizards of the Coast I don't believe understands properly. If you don't know what that means, player segmentation is Wizards of the Coast going, we want to satisfy these players. We want to hit the commander players. We want to hit casuals. We want to hit people playing standard. We want to hit people playing modern, whatever it is, you segment it out. So Wizards doesn't have its segmentation sorted out properly, clearly. That's part of their guiding philosophy. So you'll hear some terms like that being tossed out, but ultimately what's happening is Wizards of the Coast is going full steam ahead for 2023. It's more of the same with pretty much no pullback whatsoever, right? It's indicated straight up by the PR manager, the guy in charge of putting the best face on things, the guy who has to wrestle the pig that is Magic the Gathering before the stream, and let me get this lipstick on you. Oh Lord, what have my life choices become? Like I actually at this point feel pity for him because he doesn't make the decisions for the company. He just has to put the best face on them. And Wizards is so greedy. When we get to the festival stuff, it's absolutely wild the way that they're handling things. So you have a scenario where, no, we're not going to have any pullback on product. So you're not going to get any release that way. And the reason that's happening, in case you're going, wait a minute, why is Wizards of the Coast, even after their investors, like if Bank of America is coming along and saying, we got to downgrade these guys, what they're doing is wrong, why aren't we getting this knee-jerk reaction where they're going, okay, we'll slow it down? Well, it really boils down to Hasbro needs money. As far as I'm concerned, the money has to flow up the chain to Hasbro, and Hasbro says it has to show up. It doesn't matter how much damage you do to whatever brand, it has to keep flowing. So if it makes the customers unhappy, who cares? There's literally no excuse for the money not going upward. So as a result, Magic has to continue this chain of cash flowing in that it already has. And the only way to do that is to crank more products. If anybody can tell me right now how, just think in your mind, how can Wizards of the Coast stop making product and still make as much or more money? The answer is they can't. So you have this ugly situation where Wizards of the Coast isn't going to be given the option of not making the money. So Wizards makes its own greedy, gross decisions that generate a bunch of revenue. And then Hasbro goes, good, do that and more. Forever. You've set this level, now beat it. You've set this level, now beat it. It's this constant jump higher, jump higher, jump higher. Oh, you broke one of your legs? I said jump higher. That's how that works. That's the mentality. So Wizards of the Coast has to try and leap on its broken leg going, I'm leaping, boss. I'm leaping, please. Please, boss. Right? So that's the scenario we find ourselves in where Wizards has to give money to Hasbro. They have to. And the only way to get money is to take it from us. So we have to keep throwing these products out. We spend all this money in development and we have no other way to get money from our players, right? So the rage is boiling over from the 30th anniversary product, and it's spilling out in every way possible. This new festival in a box that we're going to talk about, it hasn't even sold out yet. The last one sold out instantly, and people were freaking out going, why can't I get it? This one, people looking at going, no, you know what, Wizards, forget it. So let's talk about that. We got some other things to talk about as well, but let's talk about the clearance in a box and how it's indicative of what Wizards thinks of us, and how going forwards, it's also going to be a less for more, or at least less for the same mentality. So the festival in a box that we got for the Magic 30th anniversary had all kinds of bells and whistles. You get yourself a little secret lair, you get a deck box, you get a playmat. They're all themed to the current set. They threw in some commander decks that were a bit older or whatever. There was a mystery booster box. Like, it was a full tilt kind of, hey, $270, but if you can't make it to the Magic 30th anniversary, you get all these physical objects like you were there, and a special virtual ticket as well. And this virtual ticket included a Q&A with Richard Garfield and a Q&A with Mark Rosewater, and some people are still salty about missing out on that event because Wizards of the Coast didn't handle it properly, but I'm going to put that aside right now. So it included that little virtual ticket, which what, like, you get those Q&As, and you also get codes for Arena and MTGO, okay? So the festival in a box, it sells out largely on the back of the mystery booster box, right? When you look at it, the mystery booster box is like most of the price of one of these festival in a box kind of setups. So people went, okay, this makes sense to me. You get this, you get the secret lair, and sure, you know what, the Kamigawa Commander decks, they did feel kind of like shoved in because we're moving on to the Dominarian time, so why do we have this going on? But at the same time, people just kind of let it slide. But now you have the new festival in a box, which is more appropriately named clearance in a box. And it has a lot of similarities to the previous one, except it just has less in it. It doesn't add anything new. You still get your playmat, you still get your sleeves. There's a new secret layer, so instead of the little Geary, there's the cat secret layer included. But at the end of the day, it's pretty much the same product, except the previous one would give you a soul ring and, what was it, an arcane signet. Now they've cut the soul ring, so you only get an arcane signet. The virtual ticket that they sold individually, by the way, for $30. So think about that. This is a $270 item. And one of the things they include in this festival item, the $270 item, is a $30 digital ticket. Now they stripped that $30 digital ticket straight out of it without reducing the cost. And then when it comes to the commander decks, you got Kamigawa commander decks with the previous one. With this one, what is it again? Kaldheim and Zendikar Rising. Think about that for a second. Wizards is literally just going clear out the backlog of whatever garbage we have kicking around. Here's how we celebrate 30th anniversary, by giving you less as we progress. We're actually moving into the 30th anniversary. This is the pre-30th anniversary. So the first celebration in the actual 30th anniversary is, hey, great, we're celebrating it by dumping junk on you, removing stuff from the product here, and at the same time saying we're going to keep shoving stuff down the line. And their failures are spreading across a number of different situations right now, including Arena, where Mishra's Bauble, which for some reason, they're like, hey, we're going to put this into Arena and you can get it in booster packs, except you can't use it in any format, right? It's not standard legal, and it's not legal in historic either, because they're like, well, like, if we put this stuff in, it's too unbalanced, so we're putting it in the client anyways, and we'll just make it like deranked so you don't even get it until last. And then it turns out there's somebody reporting, and they're like, yo, I opened 200 booster packs Where's my Mishra's baubles? I've collected everything. Why isn't it giving me baubles? They're not getting baubles. And on top of that, because you're like, okay, that's a corner case, whatever. Some dude can't get baubles because he opened 200 packs. Who cares? Well, how about this? How about if you play in a draft, you just can't get a Mishra's bauble? Mishra's bauble are in the booster packs. The only format you can use them in is draft, unless you consider direct to your friend challenges a format, which I'm sorry, when it comes to Arena, I don't. So Mishra's baubles, the only place you can play with it at all is in draft. And they're not even in the draft. And Wizards has acknowledged this is a bug. Like, they don't put in the effort to make things work. It's so frustrating that they expect us to pay these crazy prices and they won't put in the effort to make things function properly, right? You have a situation where, now I don't know the complete underpinnings of this, but there are people online right now who are talking about all of a sudden they're having problems trying to buy Wizards of the Coast products. There was a post that said that they had contacted their bank because when they went to buy the new Festival in a Box, they got an error saying that basically, is this a scam purchase? Is this real? You guys know what I'm talking about. I got one once when I went to the grocery store and just bought vegetables. And it was just fraud alert. And I'm like, look, man, I'm just trying to get some cucumbers and stuff. Like, I know that I normally buy junk food, but I feel like you're examining what I'm doing too closely, okay? This is not fraud. It's just a couple of vegetables. But anyways, this dude gets this fraud alert saying, hey, is this a scam purchase? What's going on? And he's like, wait, why is it doing this? And so he tries to put the purchase through and he keeps encountering this problem. And he contacts his bank, and the person at the bank, according to this guy, said, oh no, Wizards of the Coast is on like our fraud watch list now because they're considered a high risk company for fraudulent transactions. And this has spawned a massive conversation where there are multiple different points of view. There are some people who believe that this has happened as a result of Wizards of the Coast and the whole heads I win, tails I lose thing, which people are roasting them on Twitter about right now. Wizards is getting hosed, and they deserve it. They put out emails like, October 24th, we're entering the shipping process. And then it's like, people are getting emails now going, hey, we're sending it out. And it just makes you wonder, did they just start sending out these emails because people were starting to try, like, more and more people trying to get their money back? It's a pretty bleak situation where Wizards has completely devastated the trust of people. You don't expect that you can get your products. A bunch of people are doing chargebacks on Wizards for the secret layer stuff, for all these things. And so it could be a scenario where they've gotten so many chargebacks that it moves past some kind of threshold. But then there are other people who are saying, look, man, no, I work in the banking industry or whatever else, and these flags are automatically put on any online card purchases because it's very easy to use them for laundering purposes and stuff like that. So admittedly, I don't really know 100% where it falls. I do genuinely believe that Wizards of the Coast has been dealing with a lot more demands for refunds and chargebacks and things like that lately because there are a ton, and I mean a ton, of angry people when it comes to what Wizards has done. There are people who genuinely enjoy watching what I do, and they're like, right now, man, when it comes to like Magic the Gathering, I can't watch any of your videos where you're opening and enjoying stuff elsewhere because I'm just so frustrated with Wizards, and I don't want to get enthusiastic and buy their products and reward them for this behavior. Like, people literally feel like they need to stop themselves from enjoying Magic to punish Wizards. Think about how strongly you have to feel as a customer to feel that way. People don't normally feel that way about most products, but Wizards has an incredibly loyal customer base, right? And this 30th anniversary was them going, the one promise that we had kept, we've broken the foundation of it. And now everything is in free fall. And while it's in free fall and people are clamoring and screaming, Wizards fix it, Wizards stop, slow down, get back to the basics, make it organic, do this right. They're just going, things will continue as they have been and will always go forth this way. It's going to take them a year and a half to 2 years probably to fully course correct. You don't get to see a full like, daddy's turning the bus around moment with something like this. This is a slow, lumbering behemoth. And as a result, 2023 is going to be so painful as a bunch of products come out to try and grab as much money as possible from you. That's the deal. You're going to see stuff. You think that the Lord of the Rings set isn't going to bust Modern's head wide open? It totally is. Like, don't fool yourself. Lord of the Rings is going to have some Ragavan level stuff that you cannot ignore because that's how Wizards operates now. All these sets are designed to crack formats like a walnut. If you wanted formats that don't rotate, I have bad news for you. Wizards is forcing rotation on every single format because you need to constantly be buying. And especially now that they've cannibalized Standard, where they could lean on that more heavily, and now they're just going, oh, VP's running out. Hey guys, does anybody know what happened to Standard? It's like, yeah, we watched you bludgeon it, and it's like barely breathing in the corner. Do you guys have any idea why that might have happened? Like, who did that? Why do you think it's laying over there wheezing like that? Oh, I don't know, because you've been clubbing it like a fiend. So yeah, you've got a scenario where they've laid this bed that is awful, and now they're laying down and going, it's so uncomfortable, and they won't be able to change the sheets for at least a year. So we're going to see a whole bunch of grossness come out. And remember what Mark Rosewater said. We've basically just seen the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Universes Beyond. So 2023 is going to be, in my estimation, the year of more Magic product than you've ever seen, the year of more crossovers than you've ever seen, and the most outrage and disappointment in the Magic community you've ever seen, with flagging sales as Wizards just gets taken down to the mat. That's what's going to happen. So you can let me know your thoughts. I know it's going to happen either way. Everybody's heated on this one, all right? Big thank you to all of my patrons for supporting my channel. You guys are the best. And tonight, you know what? I got this mystery box. It's been teasing me all day. So we're going to crack this daddy open tonight in a live stream over on my other channel. So if you want to know what's inside, come on by and check it out. I'll see you there.